I am guided by imagination, open to my creation, creating wins and celebrations. Don't be overwhelmed by information, more important than education. Be inspired by your exploration on the path to your destination, leading to innovation. Yes, you are guided by imagination. Hello everyone, I'm Joyful Jennie, and I'm here with the amazing Myron McKinley. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you for having me.
I just had the honor to get to listen to your amazing concert here in San Diego. Wow.
Did you like it?
I was amazed and excited. And you and your skills and your band and the vibe and the energy and wow, it was incredible.
That means a lot. Thank you so much.
This is my first time seeing you.
Okay.
And if you're not familiar with Myron, then you've probably heard of a band called Earth, Wind, and Fire, right? Well, I really was excited to get to know a little bit more about you. Mm-hmm. And I am excited that you're here on the podcast, Guided by Imagination.
Guided by Imagination, got you.
And it's where we interview people to share their stories about how imagination and creativity made a difference in your life.
Oh, okay.
And
Wonderful.
I know I learned a little bit about you and starting playing music from a really young age. Mm-hmm. And so I'd love to hear a little bit about your story and how creativity really stepped into your life. Because you mentioned the formal classical piano training. And then where did those like creative juices or the imagination, like where did that stem from?
I believe with the classical, it sets up all the beginning of the dexterity and, it's almost like gives you the tools to do other things. And then, growing up in church, you employ that. And then when I first heard jazz, and I was like, oh, and I remember first hearing a couple of things going, how are they doing this? And then realizing they're thinking this on the spot. And then you start to learn how to do that. And that's how I started from there. Just hearing other people doing it and going, okay, well, you have these different skills. How can I combine these to make the sentences that I want to say? And then the more you keep doing it, you get better skills to do it.
Yeah, that's excellent. And who were some influences that you had? You mentioned church and you mentioned obviously the classical training, but what are maybe some other artists that influenced you early on in your journey with your music career?
I guess the first CD I had was Oscar Peterson. That was the first one my mom got me, Oscar Peterson. And, that's kind of hard to give a 6-year-old to think that's what a piano's supposed to be played like.
Right.
It's unfair, really. But, I guess you got to set the bar somewhere, right? But that was that. And then, like I said, I really loved the Baroque classical stuff. So then once you start hearing these things, you start to understand that they're intertwined a lot. Like Chopin, you start hearing Bach, how even Oscar will tell you, Bach is a form of bebop with a different type of measure, but that's already written out. So if you get those skills, it's like lifting weights. If you don't lift the weight, then when it comes time to do certain things, you don't have the skill to do it. Whereas with music, if you start listening to different things, you play Bach enough, you'll have the dexterity. Now it becomes, like you said, the imagination. Can you bring something different than what's already written to it? So as those more things that I started playing like that, and then started gravitating to more of a jazz aspect.
And jazz is so imaginative. I mean, I grew up playing classical piano at not as early of an age as you, but for an expanse. And then I later took my piano into playing with the band, like more classic rock and things. But I love how innovative you are. Even tonight, you were playing some well-known songs with your own twist on it. Right. And I'd love to hear, what is that like for you, that creative process, where you really hone in on all those little
it's just melodies. It's just like you hear certain things. And it's basically part of your life too. Whatever you've experienced in life, that's going to come out in your music. So, if I look at me starting out with classical, gospel, and then jazz, then I'm sure they hear that in certain things that I play because that's what I grew up having. And if like I said, music is a form of a dialect. So if I want to, for example, I had a friend named Jeto da Silva who would play. He was from Brazil, and he would play the Montunos, and everything he played had a feel or a laid back, because if you think of Brazil, you think of the beaches, you think of everybody relaxing over there. His vibe when he played was that. And so, you know, your life experiences are going to come out in what you play.
Ooh,
So
like
music is definitely the most vulnerable thing you could do, because you're bearing everything that you have when you play it.
Especially in front of an audience.
So be confident, because they're gonna see it.
Yes. And I'd love to know too, because you have such a variety of skills with obviously the legend, Earth, Wind, and Fire, the music that is such a timeless part of history. And then how you've taken what you're innovating and what you're creating and what's fresh and what's new for you. What is that process like?
Oh, it's just like when we did Fantasy today, it's like I said, I always heard it as a classical piece. Like if you slow it down, it sounds very classical. It sounds Baroque, sounds kind of like a Bach piece, you know, you can, or Beethoven kind of thing. You can fool around with that. But so I just took that approach and just made it, you know, gave it a waltz feel in the middle. And then, so it's more like just how it feels when, you know, and if it feels right, you go, oh, you'll feel it more so than someone thinking it out. It's just that we'll play something a couple times and we'll change it. And then you can almost feel the feeling palpable in the room, goes, oh yeah, that's right. That feels good. Okay, that's what we'll do. That's what we'll do.
Yes.
You know, so.
Yeah.
So it's just a process, you know. It's almost like you're taking a piece of wood and shaving it till you get that form that you want.
Sculpting it.
Yep.
Yeah. Chipping away the parts
exactly
that are like
and it never ends.
The David.
It never ends. Like I've heard Herbie play something. I heard him play Maiden Voyage the other day, and I was like, now when he wrote it, he's barely doing anything. And then I heard him play it maybe 40 years later since then. If you don't know it's Maiden Voyage, you almost get lost because he's played it so much that he's so in the song, he knows what it is. And he's doing all stuff. You know it is, but it's, you know, and that's when you go, man, that's, you know, it keeps evolving, which if you let yourself do is great. You just keep growing, because what you are now, playing it different, is going to have a different set of skills. Yeah.
Yes. So what kind of advice, or maybe some homework for our viewers that maybe people that are musically inclined or a little trepidatious about playing music or haven't picked up their instrument for a while, something that maybe they could do to tap into their imagination and creativity?
Just, if you play what you like, then you're going to start being creative with it. You just, you know, listen to it. And if you have an instrument and you play it, don't stop. Just keep doing it, you know. And like I said, the beginning of it is just having the skills. Because if you have the ability, you'll start doing things that you don't know, that you didn't even think, because you have the ability to do it. The problem is people stop, and then they don't grow anymore. So they stop playing, and then they really can't advance, because the skills that you have is either moving forward or moving back. It's not standing there. And that's in everything. So if you're not pushing forward, then you're sliding back.
Yeah, that's great. Great advice. So for all of you out there watching, definitely take the time to tap into your imagination, get your creative music skills activated, reactivated.
Have fun with it. Have fun with it.
And where can people find you if they haven't listened
my
to
My website is myronmckinley.com. All the information will be there, all the shows we're going to have coming up. Look forward to seeing you guys there. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
If you want to take your imagination to the next level, join our free Facebook group, The Video Hub, for fast-growing local and global business professionals. We live stream educational content weekly to help you grow and monetize your results with video storytelling. Click the link below to access.